I, I want to talk to you today about what you're actually worth. I always laugh when I look on the internet and I see people asking questions like, how much is Tony Robbins worth? Or how much is Jeff Bezos worth? And the answers are always in dollars. But as you well know, true worth runs far deeper than your bank account. True worth is a state of consciousness. In many of my coaching sessions, we eventually get around to I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. Who would want me for a partner? A lot of people who are looking for a partner, and I ask them, what resistance do you have to having a partner? Why don't you have one? And lots of people say, well, I'm afraid that if I found somebody, they would get to know me and not like me, push me away. And so this is an amazing invitation to examine your sense of what am I worth? If you don't think you're worthwhile, it's going to be hard for you to find somebody who thinks you're worthwhile, even though you are. So worthiness is a big issue for lots of us. And the question is, where did you learn to not feel worthy? I ask this to most of my coaching clients. Who or what in your past gave you some message that you're less than, that you need to strive to prove yourself? And I hear odd things, like terrible things, like parents say, well, you were an accident. My mother said, I wish you were never born. I mean, to say that to a young child who absorbs that into the subconscious is horrible. Or if you don't go into the family profession and continue our legacy of doctors, you're going to really embarrass the family. Or how dare you attempt to be an artist or a musician or a writer when you can make a lot more money in programming, becoming a lawyer. And so from a very early age, we get all these messages that you're not enough. And the concurrent message is you have to prove yourself. If you have to do something to demonstrate that you're going to become enough. Now, I had a client who, as a child, her parents gave her piano lessons, maybe age 6. And her father was a very strict military man. And he sat on the bench with her while she practiced. And this was years ago. He put a 50-cent piece on the piano. And he said, if you can play this practice piece perfectly, you get 50 cents. If not, you lose it. Well, at age 6, how often do you play the practice piece perfectly? So it was very, very rare that she got the coin. And she developed a lifetime pattern of, I have to work hard to prove myself, and I very rarely get the reward. Now, ironically, she was a very successful businesswoman because she was working hard to prove herself. She had numerous degrees and certifications, and she sat on boards. And in coaching, we kind of traced back her sense of I'm always on this hamster wheel, to the fact that her father kind of taunted her with this 50% prize, which she rarely got. And somehow through a series of coaching sessions, she got that I'm enough. I don't have to be in any more boards or get any more degrees to prove to the world that I am enough. And she made sweeping changes in her life. She resigned from her own company and turned her company over to her son, and she just did consulting where she wanted. And what she really wanted to do was stay home with her husband and family. She lived on a farm, they had animals, be with them. And so the key turning point for this woman was when she realized, I'm already enough. There's nothing else I have to do to prove myself. So take a moment now to think about, do I know that I'm enough already? And if not, what do we think I do? What do I think I need to do to become enough? Well, do I need to lose weight? Do I need to get cosmetic surgery? Do I need to make more money? Do I need to impress my friends with a better house or car? Do I need to post pictures on Facebook of me doing glamorous things? And interestingly, a friend of mine told me that there's a new psychological disorder called Facebook depression. And it's a result of people looking on Facebook and seeing their friends with glorious Cancun vacations and dating and gowns and all that. And they think, I'm not doing any of that. I can't afford that stuff. And so what's wrong with me? Well, meanwhile, the people who are posting those glorious pictures have their own issues. They're looking at you thinking, why can't I have a nice life like her? And so it's a really slippery ego that always makes you think that something out there is better and there's something in me that's lacking. And if I could just fill in that black hole, then I'll be enough. But if you've tried this, we all have, then you know that the hole is black. It's deep. It's an endless. You will never fill that hole because it's based on a lie. I'm just recalling a funny experience. When I was about 15, I took a summer job in this factory, and I didn't get out much. I was working hard, and I wanted to look cool. I wanted to look like I was a slick guy. So I bought this stuff you put on your arm called tan fastic. It's like a like a fake tan, and so I put it on one weekend so it looked like I went to the beach. And when I came in on Monday, the secretary said, "What's that crap on your arm, Alan?" she, she she wasn't impressed by my fake tan. And the truth is that anything you do to look cool will actually make you less cool because you're proceeding from a false premise. This is a really good metaphysical concept. So anything you do from a sense of not enough will backfire because the thought that's driving it is I'm not enough and I will become enough. But if you know that you are enough and you're doing things that an enough person would do, everything works perfectly because you're coming from a true premise. Do you follow that? The truth is you're enough. And A Course in Miracles tells us that only what's true of God is true of you. And there's a beautiful lesson where it asks us to identify in our mind the ideal traits that we know of a loving God and then to claim them. So you say, well, God is love, and therefore I am love. God is whole, and therefore I am whole. God is creative, therefore I am creative. God is perfect, and therefore I am perfect because I am created in the image and likeness of a perfect God. See, we're kind of going into a meditative state as I'm doing this, aren't we? Because when you speak truth, then healing happens. And what is healing but wholeness? And so when you claim your wholeness, you're claiming your healing. There's a phrase from the prophet Joel in the Old Testament that says, let the weak say, I am strong. They can say, well, that's a lie because I'm not strong. But what if weakness was the lie and strength was the truth? What if the weakness or the inadequacy existed only at the surface level of your being, at the personality, at the appearance level? And what if behind that very thin crust, there was deep strength? I knew a lady named Myra, a lovely young lady. I knew her many years ago. And she was very meek and kind of shy, and she didn't go out very much. And she was, she was a very lovely lady and kind of reserved. And then she developed this puppet business. And she built this whole puppet theater. And I went to one of her shows, and she had these really cool, colorful puppets and music, and they were fighting and laughing. And she had this whole alter ego where she was really passionate and expressive, which was different from her daily personality. And it was just amazing to me that behind that quiet person, there was a very vibrant and alive person. She developed a great business going around to libraries and schools and places and showing her puppets. And she was a very, very talented, vibrant, creative person at her core. And so don't be fooled by surface appearances because there's always somebody deeper and richer. Now, we always get fooled by appearances, don't we? I might have mentioned this recently, but I'll say it again. When I first wrote my book, The Dragon Doesn't Live Here Anymore, I sent a copy to Richard Bach, who is my favorite author, who wrote Illusions and Jonathan Livingston Seagull, great books. And he sent me back a postcard saying, "Thank you, loved your book." And he concluded by saying, "The family of those of us who don't believe in appearances is a large one. Family of those of us who do not believe in appearances is a large one." And what he was saying was that the way it seems is not the way it is. And let's tie this back into enoughness. Your sense of enoughness, not enoughness, is really a huge lie. Now, let's go back to the original idea that when you were a child, people laid these negative programs over you and you believed them because you didn't know any better as a little child. You're an emotional sponge as a child. It was like they gave you this dark, heavy, dirty, smelly coat. And they said, "This is you, wear this." And it was the constrictive code. It was more like a straitjacket. It just kind of bound you and limited you because it wasn't you. It was a nasty thing they laid over you. And as a child, you accepted this. Now, what was worse was over time, you forgot that it was their voice that was programming you negatively, and you thought it was your own voice. And so, even though your parents or grandparents or teachers or priests are dead and gone, maybe, their voice continues to, their critical inner voice continues to ruminate in your head as if it's your own voice and if it's true. This is a tragedy of negative programming. So the first thing I do with my coaching clients is I ask them, where did you learn that voice? And there's always some parent or grandparent that laid it over them. And then I ask them, can you see that it's not your own voice? Even though it's run you for many years or a lifetime, your own voice is not critical. And one of the best affirmations I've ever heard years ago is the critical voice is not my own. Critical voice, I don't own the critical voice. It's not natural to me. I was not born with that critical voice. It was all learned. And the good news is the critical voice which was learned can be unlearned. In fact, more easily because it's not natural. It might be normal, but it's not natural. Your critical voice is not your natural voice. So really the spiritual voice is about reclaiming the spiritual path is about reclaiming our true nature, going back to our original innocence. We've heard a lot about original sin, have we not? But we've heard less about original innocence. And the great Swami Satchidananda used to say, you were born fine, and then you got defined, and now we're getting refined. So the spiritual path is not about adding anything, not about becoming anything. It's not even about fixing anything. It's about letting go of all that you are not, like peeling away layers of an onion skin, and releasing and allowing that which you are. That's all you're doing is you're letting go of lies and revealing the truth. And the truth about you and me and all of us is that we're totally worthy, that we deserve great incomes, we deserve great relationships, we deserve vibrant health, we deserve careers that we want to get up in the morning and go to. We deserve passion. Everything that you value as an ideal in your life, you deserve at this moment without doing anything to become more worthy. So if you get anything from this particular video, I would like to inspire you to let go of any and everything that you're doing to become worthy, so you can recognize that you are perfect and divine and whole, just as God created you. And that's the life I want you to live. That's the life I want to live. Every day I'm practicing more and more, coming from my sense of wholeness rather than any sense of deficiency that pops up now and then. It's from deficiency to efficiency. Okay. And once again, I'm reminding you daily about my upcoming writing program. I'm doing a 10-week Mastery of Spiritual Writing training starting May 7th, 10 vibrant 90-minute interactive webinars, and a 20-lesson online course, a very comprehensive, deep interactive online course. And then we're going to cap it off with an optional 4-day retreat on Kauai with me at a beautiful hotel on the beach. So if this speaks to you, if you feel guided, jump on it, please. We're filling up. We have a wonderful, wonderful group that's joining us. Go to my website, alancohen.com, and we'll love to see you in May and June. Okay, recap. Recap with affirmations. Close your eyes if you would with me, please. Take a moment. I'm going to say some affirmations, and I invite you to repeat them either aloud or in your mind, and really let's get it. I am a worthy soul. And I want you not just to parrot these words, but to say them with conviction and meaning, and just let it sink in. Actually, you're not making them true. You're tapping into the place in your deep soul where it's already true, where you remember that it is true. I am whole. I don't need to fix anything. I don't need to prove anything. God created me with immense talent, immense love, immense vitality, immense everything that's wonderful about me was seeded by God as my destiny. And so at this moment, I consciously and willfully release anything that proceeds from I'm not enough. I let it fall away from me. I throw off that old stinky coat I've been wearing for many years. It does not serve me. It never really did. And I stand naked in the sun, if you will, spiritually naked. I'm happy to be just who I am, without any cover-ups, without any proving selves, without any justifications, without any needing to demonstrate that I'm right. I'm right because I live. I'm who God created me, and there's nothing that would be better than who I am already. I love myself as I am. I appreciate myself as I am. I accept myself as I am. And today, and this week, and every life, I'm standing in my true, authentic self, which draws unto me everything I deserve as a whole and worthy child of God. So it is.